But
he still claims that Mace Windu is still alive, and he's waiting for that phone call. He said George told him. He said, "Yeah, he's still alive." Anyway,
she's been dying.
oh yeah.
Thank you. Also, big thank you. I saw Spider-Man Homecoming 6 times opening day. Long story. But I was really wondering how the pre-production process has changed since Iron Man is filmed now. Of course, with the elaborate universe that you created, if there's a huge spreadsheet you go through with maintaining continuity, sort of what that process is like.
The question of pre-production. I think we may have two different answers.
well, what's the process of pre-production like? It is, as I was saying earlier, a lot of it formulated by working with John and following John's lead. And once you make a handful of films and deliver them on time and they turn out well, you start to use that as a template on setting your timelines. Sometimes that bites you because oftentimes, because of actor availability or something happens, you end up getting a much shorter pre-production time or post-production time, but then you succeed and it works, and you go, oh well, look, we don't need all this time, so you have to battle that. I'd say the only thing that's really changed is when we were doing Iron Man, it was just Iron Man and then Incredible Hulk soon after that. Now there's just a lot more going on, but you have to keep that individual focus.
For me, there's a lot of opportunity presented by new technologies, and also I've learned a lot by learning as much as I can about the animation process. Animation tends to put more emphasis on pre-production, because often they'll develop very fully several projects and not greenlight one until they feel like the story's rock solid. And so everything is planned. And to the extent that I can, I do. And now for the last couple of movies, I've had a head of story in a story department. And so I'm able to watch the movie in pencils like Walt Disney did before I ever, because the script, everybody can read it differently. But if you watch story reels, it's like watching the movie. And I'm really good at watching movies. I'm good at saying what's good and bad in a movie. So it's like you're creating a movie for you to pick apart. And I find that when you're sitting in a room, whether it's executives or actors or other creative types, when you all watch something, everybody tends to have a similar opinion about it. When you read a script, it's always different. So it's a way to get people on the same page creatively and guide them through. And now I've even been using for Lion King, virtual reality, building the sets and everything in VR and actually going to the places that are going to exist digitally. You know, back on Iron Man, a lot of it was we would plan it with pictures, maybe do some previs, shoot it in front of green screen and figure it out, the fine details of it in post-production. So for something like Lion
Some people still do it that way, John. What's great about John is, as I said, helping us pioneer what we were doing to begin with, but then he went off and pioneered a whole other level of technology. One of the early meetings we had on Infinity War was John coming in, sitting with Joe and Anthony Russo, our entire team, and walking us through kind of the new generation of
what we've done on Jungle Book.
Yeah, it was amazingly gracious of John to do that.
All right, because it's getting late. I could listen to you guys all night. But who has one last great question? Who feels real? Oh, this woman back there, yeah. First time machine.
What year? 10 years ago? Probably buy Bitcoin, right? You want to do that? Tesla.
That's what you tell your younger self.
No, I would say it's always going to feel just like this. Not going to change on the inside. Feels the same. You'll be just as scared and just as hopeful, and but just, don't worry. Really, honestly, don't get in your own. Just relax and let life unfold. That's the big one, because I feel the same way I did then, and it's you just have to change your disposition and trust things. But that's a little more existential than a career piece of advice. And then as far as improv and the process, I think casting's the most important thing, so thank you for complimenting that. I think I think I'm really good at picking great people to work with in front of and behind the camera. I just try to get people that are smarter and more knowledgeable and more talented than I am, as much as, you know, in every area, and I learn from them and listen to them, and I could manage that dynamic well. And I could bring in really talented people and help them all work together. But when it's really clicking, I'm not doing a lot. I'm just bringing great people together. And that's honestly the most gratifying part of it, is when you see it all happen and you could just sort of stand there and watch it all unfold. And then sometimes you got to jump in there and guide things a little bit, but when you do your job and you cast the right people, and then when they improvise, they say the right thing. And so it's about finding the right people and trusting them, and being and then sharing the credit, which I am doing now. Which I'm saying that everything here, and as a filmmaker, you get a lot of attention that you're the person, but you're kind of the front man to the band, or you're the conductor, but you're not playing any instruments. They're all playing it around you. And so being grateful for it, and being generous with expressing how much others contribute.
Doesn't get better than that. I wouldn't go back in time and mess with my younger self, because I'm afraid I'd create a paradox. I'd screw something up, and then I wouldn't be here where I am now. I'd go back to 1955 and see if Mr. Sandman's really playing, and the Texaco guys come and run around the car. That's what I'd do.
Well, let's give a big round of applause for Kevin and John.
Thank you.
And to quote the Marvel end credits, Kevin Feige will return next Thursday with Avengers with Josh Whedon.